Well, everyone, it's time to do some more Team of the Year. We've been building this up over the past few weeks. If you want to check out the previous parts, please do on the Ball Street YouTube channel. But today, it's the role of us to pick attacking midfielders, stroke wingers in our amazing 3 at the back formation. This is the good stuff. This is the stuff where we're not going like, oh, centre-half. How do you judge a centre-half who's good at heading? No, this is like goals and assists. The stuff that everyone gives a shit about.
No disrespect to Burnley fans, but there are no Burnley in the midfield.
I'm West Brom.
I'm West Brom to get mentions in these things so far. That sounded really condescending. But anyway, no, we've got some of the absolute cream of the crop in world football here. We're going to get stuck into it. Ped, who do you feel, because obviously we're going to put 5 suggestions forward, the top 2 are going to make it into the team. Who would you like to see, in your opinion, has been the best attacking midfielder, winger, whatever?
See, the one I'm going to go for might be slightly controversial because some people might see him as a striker. It's Dele Alli.
Okay.
Because I think some people he does play that sort of, people say he's not attacking, but I really like this kind of player. I like the sort of Frank Lampard, we got Tim Cahill, just that midfielder that you can't sort of get hold of. You know, you don't know where he's going to be, and they always arrive late in the box and score really important goals. And I just think, for his age and what he's done since he's come in the Premier League, I think it's just magnificent. I think he's had an amazing season.
This is on the back as well. I think particularly we'll come on. Harry Kane will come up next week certainly. Very disappointing Euros.
Don't give it away.
Disappointing Euros. Loads of pressure. Look, loads of people they got thrown in that team, and I think the Spurs players got hung out to dry a little bit.
They did because they didn't. If he just left them to play, like if just said, lads, go and do what you do for Spurs for us. like no, this is England. We'll put everyone in different positions, like we always do. No, I think he's had a brilliant season. I think he started a little bit slow because of the Euros, and he's built up over the season and got stronger and stronger, like Spurs have, and have obviously just missed out on a Premier League. I just think he's got something about him as well. He's one of those players. No, he's not. It's not. He's a bit of a twat. You just feel that when he's on the pitch. He's like, you don't really like him, but you love him as your own. He's got something a little bit. He's got a little bit of arrogance, a little bit of swagger, and I like that about him. And he's not like a tricky winger. It is really hard to pin down what he's really good at, but he does it. Whatever he does it really, really well. He scores goals and makes goals, and has took the pressure off Harry Kane. And Harry Kane's gone on to be top goal scorer. And it might just be me liking this type of player. So he'd be the one for me.
Involved in 25 of their goals.
Oh, yeah.
Scored 18, assisted 7. Which I thought he would have assisted a few more than that.
But he scored 18 goals.
He scored 18, yeah. But you know what? You're right. He's not... He's like a bit further than an attacking midfielder, isn't he?
He's almost like a false 9, but not really. It's like you can't.
He's a false 9.
Inverted false 9. Oh, yeah, but it's weird. It's weird. Personally, though,
let's go very serious for a moment.
Personally, if you don't mind me interjecting, Peds, Christian Eriksen, everything goes through him. If it's not going, if Dele Alli's scoring a goal, it's gone through him. It's the same with Harry Kane. So for me, I can't argue against him. He's got to be in it.
So you're going Christian Eriksen.
His chances created
incredible.
Christian Eriksen is the guy who has the assist for the assist. If that makes sense.
Yeah, the guy before the guy.
Yeah. And sometimes those plays are actually more important.
Yeah. You say that he's got 15.
No, I know, but I bet you he's been involved in a lot more goals, just opening the midfield up and creating space for other players. He's another player I really like.
I think the best way to look at it was the semi-final against Chelsea in the FA Cup. He was getting very frustrated, and this is the first time I've seen him actually lose his temper in a game. And as a result, he lost his head, and nothing. Spurs couldn't create anything, and Chelsea went on to go into the final, which they're going to be playing soon. And I think that goes to show how important a player he is.
Do you think their stats are better because the team itself is so fluid?
Yeah, well, look, Spurs are finished top goal scorers in the league. They've lost the least amount of games. They've conceded the amount of goals.
It really makes sense, does it, this league thing?
Flav in the watch-along was like buzzing because they're beating Hull 7-1. And then he was like, how did we
They're
not
like
win
the
the
Hillary
league?
Clinton of football, aren't they? Basically, you know what I mean? Got the popular vote, but
Well, but this is it. You know, it shouldn't be used as a detrimental point. I guess is that the fact of the matter is they've had a tremendous season. They're a tremendous side, but you're not just a tremendous side.
You've
You've got to have
games out.
Exactly, but you've got to have players performing, haven't you? Within that, and it surprised me how good Eriksen had been because for me. I mean, I remember Liverpool were linked with him years ago, and there was a battle between Liverpool's transfer committee, and there was half who wanted him and half who didn't. And it was like one of those guys that if you went on the stats, you would be having him Christian Eriksen all day long, but like he didn't pass the eyeball test. People think he didn't work hard enough, he didn't do whatever. Well, look, he's found his groove in that Spurs side. The only issue I have with that as a suggestion, and I think we'll get this as we talk through a few more of the players, is that if we're only allowed to pick 5 to put forward. There's a couple of players who've had tremendous seasons who are going to end up missing out here, and maybe that's just me being biased against it. I would want these players in ahead of him, but we'll come to that in due course. James, who have you gone for?
I'm going to go for De Bruyne.
Okay. Because you can't bring yourself to say Eden Hazard?
No, there's other options as well. We've got loads down here. But no, De Bruyne's got more assists than anyone in the league this year.
Yeah.
And of all the players in the league, he's right up there in terms of players I really enjoy watching. And I think he does, because we thought about putting him in the centre midfielders last week, but when he had that many assists, you go, okay, right, he needs to be a little bit further up the pitch. I just think he's a fantastic modern footballer who you could play him deeper, or you could play him on the right wing, or you could play him behind the front two. Could have scored a few more goals for me, but I think he definitely needs to be on the list for me. Has to be on the list for me.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think the only thing that hampers him, I think, is the goals scored in the Premier League anyway. Only six.
6 is disappointing.
6 goals,
for him,
and for a guy, and I would expect that to almost be the other way around. I'd expect him to be more Dele Alli, like in that regard, because he's got such a great eye for goal. And maybe it is just that thing he's got. When you've got players in front of you who are doing the business, it makes your life a lot easier.
I mean, I think the fact that he's created 101 chances, and he's got people like Sane and Silva and Sterling in front of him, literally, like a bit like Eriksen. You would think that he's kind of the pass before the pass, but he's creating things himself, and I think that just shows what a fantastic player he is. He will win Player of PFA Player of the Year sooner or later in England. I think.
I agree with that. So you've kind of stitched me here a touch with
sorry.
this by not. So we can't not have Eden Hazard in, by the way, because he is. Yeah, he was just a bad dickhead last season. He's turned that round, and he's had a fantastic season this year. 16 goals, 5 assists. He's gone back to being what he is, and we talked about this on the Ask the Club this week about the top players in world football or whatever. Yeah, he's the next one, isn't he? He's the next one that Real Madrid will eventually go. Ahead, we'll have a piece of that or whatever. He's phenomenal.
And these players that we're talking about now, they're the guy, aren't they? When you go, oh right, who we got this week? We've got Chelsea, right? Oh, right, Hazard. He's the guy you got to be concerned with, and probably of all of the players here, if you're playing against another team, there's one player that you're concerned about the whole time. For me, it's probably him and maybe Sanchez. Those are probably the two.
It was terrible last season, and Chelsea came to Anfield, and he just decided to turn up, and he just picked the ball up on like the left wing, and
his feet are unreal.
He just slaloms in, slots it in, and you're like. You know, like you used to have that when you come up against Cristiano Ronaldo and you'd just be clenched for 90 minutes. Because there's a guy who just, if you give him an inch, he'll take a mile kind of thing. Like, he'll be the guy who sticks it in the back of the net. So I want to make a case for a Liverpool player in there, obviously. I know the reason behind this, and it's a toss-up for me between Philippe Coutinho and Sadio Mane. We did a debate on our Redmen Live show, and I thought more people would back Coutinho as it, because Sadio Mane is without a doubt Liverpool's most exciting player. He's been one of the signings of the season in the league, let alone just for us. He had a transformative effect on how we play football. His pace, his running, his goals, his ability to be 3 steps behind Coutinho and Firmino in every goal celebration is unbelievable. But he's been injured, and some might say we've been terrible when he's been injured. So you can, wow, well, you've got to put him forward. But like Phil Coutinho for me, start of the season as our best player, playing at a world class level. Finally, got injured in November, December, and didn't come back quite the same player. But then again, Mane's gone out. The reason Liverpool finished in the top 4 is because Phil Coutinho found his form and almost, not single-handedly carried us, because that's not true, but, you know, the guy scored 2 free kicks in the last 5 games of the season. He scored a brace against West Ham.
But would you even been in that situation if Mane hadn't had the season? Why on earth, Ped, is 26 games enough for Mane? I know you get a bit funny with the amount of games that they played. 26 is enough.
Yeah, I'll give him it because he tipped me a tenner on Saturday night. True story.
Mane?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Wow, that's amazing.
This is rendered.
In terms of like,
I'm not telling you what he tipped me for, like, you know.
For not talking.
In terms of player going from one sort of level to another level, he's probably had more of a transformative.
I think that
you know what I mean.
That just goes to show like how almost one-dimensional Liverpool were with Coutinho and Firmino, but maybe that's a credit to him himself.
Or maybe the other way around, maybe we're more one-dimensional with Sadio Mane.
No. I think watching different games this season, he's been a clear match winner a lot of times. Yeah. He's been the guy a lot of times. So if I had to pick, who would you pick out of those two then? Coutinho and Mane, if you had to put one of those forward.
I did it based on who I picked as my Liverpool player of the season, and I picked Coutinho as that because, like I say, he's been there. We needed to get across the line in this season, and Phil Coutinho was the guy who was there and capable for it. And ultimately, he's only played 4 more games than Mane, and he's only got the same goals in the league, 13 goals each. He's got 2 more assists, 7-5. But it's a fine margin. If Mane doesn't get injured, there's no doubt it's Sadio Mane all day long. Yeah. But I think for me, it carries weight the fact that when we've needed to win football matches, you know, let's just look at the last 2 games of the season. Phil Coutinho scores the middle 2 goals against West Ham that puts the game to bed. You know, kills West Ham off completely, and similarly against Middlesbrough scores the second goal in that. And the second goal for Liverpool is the most important goal, has been the most important goal this season. So
Guzan should save that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, was that Coutinho's goal or Brad Guzan's bad save?
Brad Guzan, if we were doing a worst, Brad Guzan is the fucking worst goalkeeper I've ever seen.
Don't remind me.
I've ever seen this season, certainly.
You've seen Brad Jones.
I have Brad Jones.
And Bogdan.
And Adam Bogdan, yeah. Right, let's just, a couple of mentions actually before we decide on the final 5. There was a stat that was mentioned. Well, we'll come to him, but Cesc Fabregas, 11 assists. He's only played 1,357 minutes, which is effectively half as many as almost every player that we've mentioned here. There's 11 assists.
Does bits,
he hasn't played enough though, has he?
Does bits.
You know, going to Ped's rule, if you're going to be one of the players of the year, and in our team of the year, you need to play enough games. It doesn't start.
He's played 29 games.
Yeah, he's been involved in 29 games. He's come up.
He's worth a mention. But
he's definitely worth a mention. That is impressive. And
100% successful take-ons.
Yeah. How many take-ons has he had? I would love to know. Yeah, someone find out and put that in the comments, because I bet it's in under 10, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big one that has got to be mentioned is Alexis Sanchez, and I think this is a sticking point because whilst I think of him, I've seen him play a lot from like the left-hand side and what have you. My natural feeling is that this season is Sanchez more central. So what do people?
So it was 17 games he's played either sort of attacking midfield, right or left, and 19 up front.
For me,
well, that's made it easier.
for me, he's played more of a central role for the predominant part of the season, and he's never come across to me as playing at the wing and or being a traditional playmaker or attacking midfielder. He's not been put on a plate for Giroud, has he? He's been scoring the goals, and but you could say Dele Alli's been doing the same,
doesn't he? Essentially, Sanchez. Plays where he wants.
Certainly, that was, he said it in one of the other videos, Giroud, that was the plan B, because he played so well up front through the middle. And if you think of the first half of the season, he was electric, wasn't he? And he hasn't completely died off, but it's not been as strong.
23 goals and 10 assists.
Yeah. No, it's been phenomenal.
Involving 34 goals, that's crazy.
Can you imagine being Alexis Sanchez now, thinking, bloody hell, what do
Who
we need
these
to do?
dickheads not put me in
Yeah.
the team?
Well, I think he has to be nominated at some point.
So do we feel we want to bump him to next week?
I think
into
he's a
this?
striker.
Yeah.
Sanchez, personally.
Yeah, he's definitely an advanced forward of some sort.
Okay.
Advance forward. Advance forward role.
Okay, Sam, well, if you've got a problem with that, tough.
I'm not on. I'm not on next week. Figure it out.
Oh, no, right. Great, yeah. Unlucky.
We'll bump it to London.
He will be nominated, don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll move Alexis Sanchez to the strikers. Okay, then. So our 5 for you to vote for by clicking the eye in the corner of the screen. Therefore, are Dele Alli, Christian Eriksen,
I'm down. Does bits.
That means something completely different in Liverpool.
yeah, Kevin De Bruyne,
Tom knows.
Eden Hazard, and I will put forward I will go against my own points made, if only because I think you need wingers, proper wingers in this formation. I'm going to put Sadio Mane forward. You shake your head all you want, lad.
I would have put money for.
Okay, cool. So if you want to vote for your attacking midfield winger of the season for our player of the year, the top 2 are going to get through into the final team. You click the eye in the corner of the screen and vote. It's dead easy. And check back next week for the trying to justify why Alexis Sanchez doesn't make it into the top 5 strikers in the Premier League show. That should be good fun. Yeah, thanks very much. Subscribe to Ball Street by clicking the logo there. For one final time this week, give this video a massive push. Watch it, love it, share it. It's the Millwall Bradford match day experience from the League One playoff final. Look, don't just take my word for it when I say it's an incredible, incredible video. Please do go and watch it, and if you enjoy it, like, share, comment. Thanks very much. See ya. For me, it'll be a couple of weeks back on Social Club, but you see James next week and Ball Street South.